Hail Internet, it's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. Today, we are talking about the first episode of the new HBO series, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. The episode entitled, The Hedge Knight. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is based on a series of novellas by George R.R. Martin called Tales of Dunk and Egg. The first novella in that series shares the name of this episode, The Hedge Knight. And the story takes place roughly 80 years after the events of House of the Dragon and roughly 90 years before Game of Thrones. So kind of right in the middle. The Targaryens are still in power, but they're having to rule without their dragons. All right, we open with Dunk, soon to be known as Duncan the Tall by the end of the episode, burying his mentor, Sir Arlen of Pennytree, a Hedge Knight. Hedge Knight is Martin's term for a freelance or an itinerant knight. Someone who's been knighted, but is not in the service of a feudal lord with a big estate. Thus, they're wandering mercenaries, sleeping outdoors under the hedges. Dunk decides to pretend that Sir Arlen knighted him on his deathbed. He takes Sir Arlen's sword and 3 horses and heads to Ashford for a tournament to prove his worth. Not before the anxiety of the moment causes him some very visceral gastrointestinal disturbance. I suppose that scene is included to tell the audience this isn't going to be a poetic fairy tale style knight's quest. Okay, but HBO, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe the creators of the show just like people focused on such activities. It's certainly the thing that everybody's talked about.
Yeah. Well, okay. We'll talk more. Maybe we'll talk more about the poop scene in a second.
Really?
But okay. All right. I'll tell you what. I'll just say what I was going to say now. It did seem gratuitous, and I noted in the after show, like behind the scenes little video they had, one of the showrunners says, like, "I hope people forgive us for that scene," and I'm like, that makes it worse in my mind. Like, either embrace the choice or take it out. Like, apologizing for it makes it seem like you, the showrunners, are uncomfortable with it. And like, why did you leave it in then if you're like, anyway. But so be it. There was a poop scene. Okay. We end with Dunk having failed, for the moment, to get a house to vouch for him, meaning he's still not allowed to compete in the tourney. He returns to his camp outside the village, leading the life of a hedge knight, only to find the young bald boy he previously met, Egg, has tended to the horses, made a campfire, and cooked dinner, all to prove his worth. Dunk accepts Egg as his squire, and as the two go to sleep under the sky, they witness a shooting star, which Egg notes will bring good luck. All that said, Paul...
Matt?
What'd you think of episode 1?
Yeah, I thought it was good. A good beginning. It's interesting because hearing some people talk about the book that this is based on, presumably the first season will be the first book.
Yeah.
It's, people praise it for its faithfulness to the book, and yet I think one of the interesting things about it is that maybe not a lot happens this first season. It's like it's interesting that we still don't know at the end of this first show whether or not he's going to be able to, and he has to. I can't imagine the story if he does not get to play in the tourney.
Yeah, and we get from the trailers, we can see him seemingly participating in some kind of a tournament. So
sure,
yes,
yeah. So it's interesting that wasn't. I mean, I think the fact that it wasn't wrapped up lets you know a little bit about how we can expect the pace of the show to be, which I don't have a problem with.
Six episodes.
I think they do a good job of showing new character and all that.
Yeah, I do feel like it's going to revolve around this tournament specifically and probably nothing else. Like I mean, maybe not, but I feel like it'll probably end when this tournament ends.
I wonder. I mean, well, who knows? Obviously,
yeah.
I can imagine it either way. Whether it's like it's a few episodes and then it's on to the next thing because either he'll win and we'll deal with that, or he'll lose, but maybe Sir Lionel will take be sympathetic to him.
Lionel Baratheon. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it is true. That is a real life thing as well. That these tournaments did involve ransoming people a lot of times. So there were knights that would do certain tournaments, or even sometimes in battle, you go find someone, a nobility, and then capture them for ransom. And so in this case, it's like, hey, if you lose, you have to give, you're gonna have to ransom back your horse. So that's a very real downside to losing, other than simply risking your life. Is you could also not be able to get your stuff back.
Yeah.
So we enter this scenario, and it's cool. I mean, there's this counterpoint in some ways to House of the Dragon, which is an awesome show. I'm not denigrating House of the Dragon. It's just that that's told through the eyes of the nobility, the various heads of houses. This is more of a street level told story, at least for now.
It's funny that people have mentioned that, and I hadn't really gone through what I knew of House of Dragons. I obviously watched it, but in my mind, I'm thinking of more people in Game of Thrones that were of this level.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's one of the reasons I kind of mentioned House of the Dragon particularly, because you're right. Game of Thrones was a little more. Yes, it had nobility, but it also did have a fair number of the underclass, or whatever, if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
So this is kind of leaning more in that direction, and also just showing the it's like a caste system, the medieval feudal system.
Yes.
It was very tough to elevate yourself, and here's a situation where this guy has decided to take a chance, and we can tell from the way he's talking, and then we see the flashbacks to reality, that he's making up this idea of, oh, he made me a knight and he was really good to me, and then we see him getting slapped around all the time. And
it's funny. I thought the same thing. It seems pretty pointed when he says that he was knighted, and then you see a scene of him and his sir, and his sir just sort of snorts about the idea of knighting
right.
him.
He's asking and doesn't get a response.
Who are saying, or who seem less certain of whether or not he's actually lying about that. It does seem rather unlikely that on his deathbed that Sir would have said, okay, I will knight you.
Yeah, I mean, okay, is there a percentage chance, I suppose? But the story's certainly implying that he's just making this up. Also, I'll just say, he buries Sir Arlen, and is like, well, if I buried the sword with you, it would just get rusty. So, it seems a little self-serving as well.
Sure.
Look, fits my hand just fine.
Yeah,
okay. Yes, you're supposed to. If you're going to bury the sword, the fact that it might age is not a reason not to bury the sword. So anyway, so I do feel like he's making, in some ways, his own little rationale for.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. He's,
hey, I'm going to try this.
Yeah, what he's doing.
I was a squire. I did the things I'm supposed to do. I just didn't get the little final certificate saying you are a knight. So I'm going to pretend I got that certificate. We have that whole conversation where they're like, hey, was there witnesses? And he's like, this is a robin. I don't, anyway, so, he's making a go of it. And what's cool is he is seemingly a good person. I think he's making up this history so that he can advance in life and try to ascend in the social caste. But I think, especially by the standards of Game of Thrones, this is a person who has some sense of goodness, some sense of kindness about him. And I got a lot out of that when he's describing how he's going to treat Egg. Like, you're my squire. Here's the things. You're going to have plenty to eat. Blah, 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 blah. There won't be great food. You're not going to get great clothes. And he says specifically he won't beat Egg unless he deserves it, I think is what he said.
Yeah. Well, with the president that they said, or you saw...
Right, exactly. It's his reaction to his experience. Like,
well, wait, no. What I'm saying is,
sorry.
He said basically the same thing, that he didn't beat me unless I deserved it, and then we saw the times he got beaten.
Yeah.
So that doesn't necessarily mean that he's disapproving of how he was. Yeah.
He did say though in the eulogy, he was like, "You didn't hit me when I didn't deserve it, except that one time."
One time, right? Yes. So I'm like, okay. You could infer that he's committing to not, unjustly beating him,
Yeah.
But
I just
all
thought
the other
perhaps he
beatings-
was like, instead of assuming the role of, hey, now I've got the power, I can do the beating. He's kind of saying, you know what, I really wasn't fond of that, and I think I'm gonna.
No,
I'll
I'm
be
not
better.
getting that at all.
Okay. I could be reading too much into that then. All right. I just thought he was like, I'm going to be a better
but
knight.
I'm saying that it's like he did not seem that he was, when he mentioned it, he only beat me when I deserved it.
Okay.
And then you saw the times he got beaten. It's like, okay, you're not disapproving of your beatings.
Right.
It's like, okay,
right.
there was only one. If he had thought of a few different examples,
I got
and
you.
said,
I was
would've-
throwing it in. I was putting it in the context of he's aspiring to be a better knight than his mentor. And
Yeah, I mean, I think
perhaps I'm
he.
mistaken.
Well, no, I think he's just aspiring to be better than than his upbringing is. Because
I
he
got you.
certainly was. You deserve something better than me.
Well, now, like in the trailer for episode 2, I think it could be like a trailer for the season, but I think it's specifically for for episode 2. It looks like we're going to get a flashback to Dunk's childhood.
Oh, wow.
And it feels like growing up in he was growing up in Flea Bottom is where he was growing up.
Right.
And so when, in this episode, when Egg mentions he's from King's Landing and Dunk assumes he's from Flea Bottom, it's interesting. Like, from Flea Bottom? It's like, no. And it's like, yeah. Like, okay. He'll have to guess again on that. But yeah. So we'll see that he came from incredibly humble beginnings.
Oh, sure.
We do get a little bit of a mysterious. We have a character has the Targaryen coin, but he says, "Hey, I've dreamt about you. Stay out of my way." Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll save this. I'll do a little spoiler thing at the end.
So you know what that's referring to.
I do know what that's referring to.
Okay, all right.
I'll do a little spoilery thing here at the end.
Sure, of course.
We're done talking.
So yeah, tune in for that if you like to be spoiled.
Well, I say it because I do feel like actually sometimes spoilers are bad, right? Oh, damn, I don't even think. I think in this case, knowing what's coming in some ways will be more enjoyable to watch the little foreshadowing of what's to come.
Okay.
So anyway, that would be my reasoning for doing some spoilers. But okay,
all right.
But I won't do that just yet. Any other impressions you've got here from this first
I
episode?
liked, his interactions with others. I liked his interactions with the harlots.
Right. I really like that little moment where he's like, why are you mocking me? I just came here for help.
Right.
Okay, fine. It was kind of a nice.
It's a simple dialogue thing that you can do if you have confidence in how it plays out, because
right.
He's proud enough, or at least not proud enough, but he's able to say, perhaps his humility allows him to say, "Wow, why are you treating me this badly?"
Right, and it's performed well. If it had come out more angrily or something, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's literally just like kind of honest, like, "Wow, okay, you guys are being really unnecessarily mean to me," but thanks, kind of. So it was, and that was cool. That was a good little moment because they get it. He gets a response. Like they're like,
Yeah, and they're not. It's not like, wow, okay, we're going to really be bullies and not admit that we're being cruel to you. I mean, because clearly, from their perspective, they don't know the extent to which. I mean, a lot of people when they tease, they just don't know what the other person knows.
Right.
So
right.
It's like, okay, we're gonna talk about you, and sometimes. Someone is making a joke out of you, but they really make a joke out of something else. So it's like, okay, you don't always know the context. But, yeah, so it was good nuance. Also, when the person who gets him into the party...
Right, Raymond. Raymond Fossaway.
Yeah, so that little interaction, the fight, and he decides not to engage in that fight.
Right. So, yeah, that was an interesting little moment. I was wondering what that meant. Like, he says, "Hey, I don't have the time for it right now," which is true. But also, was he maybe he's still got some of that imposter syndrome in him. Like, that guy looks good. I don't know that I want to step in and get whooped here right in front of everybody.
Perhaps, yeah, or also too, like, well, I'm gonna. If I win this fight, nothing good is gonna happen.
Right.
He doesn't even know the extent to which he might have gotten really damaged before the fight.
And in fact, that's what Raymond says. Like, oh yeah, I think it's his brother. Anyway, it's a relative of his, and he's like, he likes to injure people in the pre-fights so that they are.
Yeah.
Also, I did like. I mean, the relationship between when he meets up with Lionel, and they party together, essentially have a big dance together, and there's that bit where Lionel's basically saying like, hey, good for you. But also, like, is very honest about you're not going to do well in this tournament. But like, it was just an interesting little that dialogue was well written, I thought. Because Lionel could have come off. He's the rich guy with all the land, and he could easily just be like, "You're nobody, go away." But it's like there's a little honesty in their relationship there, which was really nice.
Right.
He doesn't just treat him as a nobody, and I appreciated that.
I had to wonder whether or not, I think other people wondered as well if Lionel was perhaps hitting on him.
Right? I mean, I don't, maybe. I mean, they were doing they were stepping on each other's feet.
Yeah. Some people like flowers and candy, but other people probably
like to get stamped on. Yeah. And I mean, I will say this, pretty big deal when there are drunk as skunks, and Dunk is wearing the crown. He's wearing the antlers, which I would think that would be kind of a big faux pas. But nobody cares in that moment because it's like, yeah, it's fine, So that suggests a casualness and a certain rapport that the two of them have.
Sure, yeah. Well, I can't imagine a situation where Dunk would take it to put it in his head. I can only imagine Lionel.
Right, it was placed on there.
Yeah. He just doesn't. Yeah, he just doesn't seem the type.
Yeah, to assume. Oh, I'll just take this. Yeah. He's not that guy. Well, okay, well, those are kind of my thoughts. I can do the little, you want me to do the little spoilery thing right now?
Sure, why not?
Okay. So as I say, some of you already probably know this, but if you want to be spoiler-free on where the story's headed, we will see you next time, and we'll be talking about episode 2. But, as I say, I think there's going to be some fun foreshadowing, and I think it will be more enjoyable to see those little moments as they erupt, essentially, instead of having to go back and go, oh, no. So, Egg is short for Aegon.
Right.
Years later, he is eventually going to take the throne as Aegon V, Aegon the Unlikely.
Right.
And Duncan is going to become his Lord Commander of the Kingsguard.
Okay.
And then the two will perish together in this mysterious fire known as the Tragedy of Summerhall, and that's kind of where their story ends. Egg's older brother Aemon was the elderly Aemon that Jon Snow met as part of the Night's Watch in Game of Thrones. So that's how the family connects.
Okay.
And then another of Egg's brothers is Daron, who we met in this episode. He's the one who said, "Stay away, I had a dream."
Okay.
And so, as we know, Targaryen dreams are typically pretty prophetic. And in fact, this one involves events that will happen at the tourney. And so it is, yes, true. And then Egg's head is shaved because his hair would likely give away that he's a Targaryen. So he's always incognito. So those are just some things to note, that these two are going to have a long-lasting friendship, and it will result in kingship and that kind of thing. So they will eventually hit this royal stage, but for now they are sleeping out in a field trying to get into this little tournament. I appreciated this episode very much. I thought it was I like the actor playing Duncan quite a bit.
I
think he's doing a really good job, and look forward to seeing how he pulls
Egg
this off.
Also good.
Yep. Kid actor.
Yeah,
Sometimes kid actors can be, hit and miss. And
Yeah.
this guy looks like he's doing quite well. So yeah, we'll be back talking about episode 2. Thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
No problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye.